These tend to be really hard to do as their own series. You tend to break them up with other types of exercises. These are what we call get-ups because they're based on things like side get-ups passing through into this position. We call these side get-ups or fighters get-ups. When you train these, you tend to train them for an amount of time, say a 50-second set with a 10-second timer. You can track how many good reps people do in that amount of time, and then you can compare speed. When people move faster, cleaner, then their body is going back to working the way that it should. If you try to do all three of these exercises in a row, 50 seconds on, 10 seconds off, people tend to die. It's pretty hard on people. So we tend to put other types of exercises in the middle, like your sit-up family of movement, or into your shin roll family of movement. And then you can combine that with your burpee family of movement, which is our plank family, where we can be working on variations of planks in the middle. I grew up in the Midwest in the 80s and the 90s, and that means that almost everybody I knew from my small hometown ended up in the military at some point or another. A lot of those guys today are very injured, and they all have the same lower back injury. They all have something down around L4, L5. A lot of them are on pain medication. None of that is good. I had this question asked to me a couple of years ago. How do I get rid of this pain? I'd like to play with my kids. I'd like to go back to doing the things that I want to do in life. Let's talk about the three exercises I think are most important to achieve that goal. Military, law enforcement, firefighters, CrossFitters, guys who go to the gym a lot tend to do things like burpees. Burpees are great because they are part of the movement patterns that people do. The problem with burpees is there's no rotation in them. So a burpee, let's do a slow technical version, will be a get down, getting into a push-up position, getting down, depending on what variation you're doing. It could be a cobra up into a snap forward to a stand. It could be a pure push-up. It could have all kinds of other things in it, like leg raises and to get up and down. The problem with this is most people aren't getting enough depth in their squat. They're trying to skip this phase of movement. And that has led people into various instability in their back. When you want to fix something like that from a training perspective, we tend to rotate 90 degrees to the problem. If we want to make people better at burpees, we don't just do burpees. Of course, you have to do the burpee itself, but we should also be spending at least 50% of our time on the next three exercises. The hip drop family of movement. A burpee is one type of get up. Let's talk about something like the self-defense get up. We work on our sit up. That's where the sit up is. Elbow goes inside, hand goes down to find the ground. We get up into this position so that we can then move from here. This hip drop movement right here is the missing piece of training. The way that we train that is by isolating that little piece of spinal movement and making sure it works equally well on both sides. First variation, this is called a two-hand down hip drop. Two hand is key. Two hands on the ground, knees close to our hands. First problem people make is they have their knees way back here. When they go into their hip drop, their spine is in this weird extension and rotation. We want to set up, knees on ground, hands flat, pivot down. Two hands down, because when we lift one hand up, we're changing the way that the spine moves. Now our spine is flat and we're moving from side to side. That is good. The first one is two hands down. Two hands down, sit your hip down. This is strong. This is something that you're going to be able to push up on later to do the get up. When we have two hands down, you'll notice the lower part of my spine is forced to rotate. When I lift my hip up, come back to neutral, and go to the other side, I am checking that the muscles on both sides of my spine are equally strong and they become equally long. A lot of spine injury in guys I know is because they have one good side from some type of preferential training, whether it's setting up in a hunter's stance on one side of their body rotates better. This first exercise, make sure that the spine works equally well on both sides. Here's our squat, working on the depth. Hands go down, hip drop, hip drop, hip drop, hip drop, hip drop, hip drop, hip drop. This is like a Russian twist. That's what you normally see, but with a Russian twist, a bunch of other things can move to accomplish the task. The reason we want to do this 2 hands down hip drop is that you have to do it right. When you can do it well and you can get, say, 20 reps in 20 seconds, you're pretty sure your spine is working well on each side. In the beginning, most people are going to start somewhere between 8 and 12 reps in 20 seconds, and then they will get better over time as their spine works better. The second version of this is a one-hand version, so it changes how the spine operates, but we're gonna focus on driving our shoulder down, out, and away. Let's start from our standing position. Burpee, 2-hand hip drop. This one, single hand sit through leg, all start from this stand. Get down, find the ground. Knees close to hands. This sets our spine up for success. We're gonna do the same foot pivot. This foot is flat on the ground. This leg is strong, but now we're gonna have this straight leg. You'll recognize this straight leg activation as being the key piece of that side get up. Press up, come back to center, knees touch. Sit through, elbow goes on the inside of the knee. This is strong so that you can push up. This is the core contraction we're looking for. This piece, set the hands down, knees down. When we have 2 hands down, we force more movement on our spine. When we have 1 hand down, we allow our spine to be straight and strong and we move everything around it. Lift, change, sit. All the way down, hip down, foot flat. This is key because the important activation is this one. The lifting lat through core into the pullback. Knee touch for check, sit through. Get all the way back into your rock bottom squat. If your squat is good, your lower back is working reasonably well. The last move is the beast position, this hands and feet on the ground, to base switch, turning all the way over. We're gonna go from one side back to the other side. Same thing, checking that our spine works equally well on both sides. Arms up, work on your squat depth. This is our beast position. Knees up behind the hands, hands flat. Same sit through, but now instead of leg behind, instead of leg through, now it is base into our crab position. Open the chest, lift the chest up. From here, opposite hand, opposite foot. Lift, come back to center. Let's check, knee touch in beast position. Opposite hand, opposite leg, sit through, adjust your hands, open the chest towards the sky. Opposite hand, the one you just moved, come back. Let's do it a little bit faster. Depending on what ground you're on is how fast you're gonna move. Smooth floor, a lot easier. Outside, a lot of drag. Hands down, get through, lift, center knee touch, come through, lift, come back, center knee touch, come through, lift, come back, center knee touch. When you're done, return to your rock bottom squat position, stand up. The reason that something like 70% of the modern population has persistent back pain, it's because their core isn't working the way it should. For guys who actually have to carry load out, we can then repeat the whole thing with weight vests. This one's from Hephaestus Athletica. It's a pretty good one. What you're looking for when you're doing something like this is you're looking for it not to be long because it interferes with how the expansion and contraction of your lower back works. So we want you to get something like a high vest. The goal is to start with a light loadout. Don't do 3 minutes of these exercises with 80 pounds on. Do it for 100 workouts in a row with nothing on, then go to a 10-pound vest that doesn't interfere with your rotation, then do it with a 20-pound vest, 30-pound vest, 40-pound vest. Add more steps in the middle if you need to. At least get to the weight of your loadout, and then get to at least 5 minutes of these types of burpee variations and get up variations. Start simple, restore your range of movement. If you're trying to operate with one side not working well, it will end up in injury. The goal is to not be injured. The goal is to continue to do your job, whatever your job is, well.